Doing?
Good.
Good.
So a couple of your players tweeted about a football NIL announcement today. You know anything about that or what's coming?
Yeah, I think they got something cooking, but that's their announcement to make, so they'll make that sometime later on today.
You know if that's team-wide or just like a couple
I
of
don't
guys?
have all the specifics of it, so you'll let them announce it, and then you can, whoever sends it out, you can grab those guys tomorrow.
Okay. Last day we're allowed is Wednesday, but you're not going to stop practicing, right?
Oh God, no.
Right. Okay. So
No.
what's the schedule the rest of the week?
Schedule. What day's today?
Today's Tuesday.
Tuesday. Practice tomorrow. Thursday is a walk. Off day off their legs. Then Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, and then we'll have a normal week next week.
Okay.
Monday through, like our normal week, we start on Monday, like we normally do after a day. Sunday being the off day, so Sunday will be the off day.
We haven't asked about the schedule yet. I know Michigan backed out, and that was a wrinkle in the fly in the ointment, so to speak. But UCLA is making history by playing an FCS school for the first time in more than 100 years of football. What are your thoughts on that? Kind of the pros and are there pros and cons, or are you fully on board?
Yeah, I think with all of it, it's with scheduling so far out, at least it had been for a long time. I know it was very difficult for us to find a game, so you just have to adjust with what's out there. I think there were 3 schools, but I think all 3 schools are signed up to play. And Notre Dame was one, but I think they're playing East Tennessee or something, or one of the Tennessee states. And I think everybody's going to at least one of those games at times. But a lot of times that may be the only thing that's available. I know our guys were exhausted in terms of trying to get an extra game in there for us, but that's just kind of how it fell. So play them as they come.
How do you just feel about playing an FCS school?
I don't think you get a trophy for not playing an FCS school. So I don't think they're handing one out to say, hey, these are the only guys that haven't played one. So to us, I think it's what was available. And I think Martin wanted to see if he could partner with the HBCUs. I think we have 2 of them coming up, so I think that's a pretty cool deal. So we'll be excited about when Alabama State comes here.
Go ahead.
Do you have any scrimmage plan for the end of fall camp? I know some teams have been doing that, or is it just kind of
everything we do
practice?
is situation. So within our games, and we've had officials at every single one of our longer practices. We have officials again here today. I think this is the 5th or 6th time that they're here. So while they're here, that's when we manufacture it. So we'll have a 2-minute today. We'll have a goal line today. We'll have a red zone today. We'll have a coming out period today. So it's built within those periods are built within the training schedule itself. But there's not one practice that's just dedicated that we scrimmage for 2 straight hours.
Are those Pac-12 officials kind of working?
I think so. I think some of them may be some other guys. We just contact the league office and they provide them for them. We've had different crews here. I think this is either number 5 or number 6 of them that we've had them here for that. And there's been a couple guys that have been here more than once, and there's been new crews. The last 3 times there's been new crews. So, but I think today we got one of the crews that we've had before. So
We were talking to Devin Kirkwood yesterday, and he was saying how you will tip them off on kind of how different refs will call different contact differently. Is that something good to have different combinations of refs out here?
it is. And then what we try to get our players to do while the officials are here is to spend time talking to them, because it doesn't really matter what our interpretation is of what that penalty is. It matters what the official's interpretation of that penalty. And they'll give you what they see and what they're calling. Some things that you think, hey, that should be called, and they're like, we're not going to call it that way, but we're going to call it this way. So every time the officials are here, we always have a Q&A period for our players so that they can kind of get to it. Because, again, it doesn't matter what our interpretations of the rules is. It matters how the officials interpret the rules. So the more that our players can get exposed to the officials and ask questions. And when the officials call penalties here, we get the number, we get the penalty, and then we have a conversation. And we actually encourage our players post-practice, because the officials hang around with them, just to talk to them. Hey, you got a PI call today. See if you can go grab that back judge, or see if you can go grab that side judge and see what they saw and why they called what they called. And I think it's really helped our players kind of understand, a better understanding of the rules. So the more exposure we get to it, the better it is. Because it's critical. It's critical in terms of the yardage that you can acquire during the other team if they're more penalized than you are. So,
when do you start game planning for Bowling Green?
We've done a little so far. We had a week in June that we did our first 4 opponents. So those 4 weeks in June while we were in and going to camps at various days, but we spent time on all 4 of our first opponents. We'll revisit that as we get going here, and then we'll have our whole game plan in by next Monday.
We've seen Nicholas Barmira boom some punts. He might do punts and kicking. Is there any thought to putting him on scholarship? He's going to be doing a lot for you.
Yeah, we got a lot of those. When we do put guys on scholarships, we'll give you that information, but we haven't done anything yet.
The defensive line has
But
been
Nick's
pretty.
doing a great job in both punting and field goal kicking right now. So we're really happy really happy with Nick. He's worked extremely hard on both of them. So excited for his season this year.
The defensive line has been pretty solid last few years. What does Coach Kohaha bring to this group this year?
He's got a wealth of experience. He's been to a lot of different places and actually played the position himself. So I think he's added some from an experience standpoint there. And he's got a group to work with. I think we've got, obviously Martin is the older, wily veteran of the group. But when you add Jay and Gary, you got 3 kids, and Dovid that weigh over 315 pounds in there. I think we've got some size at the nose position. And then I think we're a little bit more active at the 3 technique and 4-eye, depending on what defense Billy's calling. So excited about not only the size of those guys, but I think their athleticism.
You've seen the Murphys for spring and most of fall now. What are your impressions of them at this moment?
They're just football players. They love playing football. They love practicing football. They love everything about football. They're a lot of fun to coach. They are so dialed in. They're really, really, really smart football players. They understand the nuances of the game. I'm excited to finally see them play against somebody else. But I love everything they brought, from what their demeanor is in the locker room to the meeting rooms to how they practice and how they train. Just really, really excited that they're here.
Since this is the last time we'll talk to you till the end of fall camp, what have been kind of your big takeaways? Where do you think the team is now at this point?
Yeah, good question. I think they're really focused. I think we have some great older leadership. Mo and Blaylock in the secondary. Darius has really taken over with Kane and John at inside linebacker. You got Bo Calvert up front with Martin. In the O-line, Sam and Gainsey have done a really nice job of keeping that group collective. The tight end room is really, really close, and the young players that we've added there, Jack and Carson, have fit in right away. But I think that's kind of the environment that Mike and Hudson is bringing along. And then I think Zach and Dorian and Jake at the skill positions on offense have done a really good job of setting the tone for the younger kids of how we train and how we do things. So I've been really, really pleased with just their focus. Every day they want to come out here. We're about the process. We're about trying to improve on a daily basis. And I think they really take that to heart. They really are comparing themselves to themselves. And they want to know how many explosive efforts did I have in a green practice, and can I top that in the next green practice? And it's a pretty cool thing to watch those guys really competing against to be the best version of themselves, and that's what we're trying to get out of this group. But their focus and their intention every day has been really, really good.
You said Darius yesterday watching some of the drills inside. Is he available today?
He's available.
Is he one of those guys that has like the heart rate limitations or something like that? Because I know in the past players have said, we got held out because the monitors said we needed to reduce our workload.
Yeah, that's happened before in the past with guys, and a lot of that's for kids returning to play. So we know how many. It's really distances. How much distance they have on a certain day, but there are no restrictions on that.
Looking back, how have things been kind of shaking out behind Zach?
Well, I think Keegan has really had a great offseason in spring and really added to his game. He's done an unbelievable job in pass pro. He's obviously a weapon coming out of the back and getting pass receptions. He's done a really nice job of running the ball. TJ's done a really nice job. The fact that TJ got here for the spring was huge for us. So we got a chance to see him for all the spring, and I think he's one kid that is noticeably better every day you get him out here. So the more reps that TJ gets, the better. Deshaun's been in and out of the lineup and doing some really nice things. I think we're excited about where he is. And Kaz can still play there too. So we played a little bit with Kaz, can get a couple snaps in there. So feel pretty good about where we are behind Zach right now.
I saw Dorian with the GoPro in the spring, but now Darius has it too. Is that something like you look back at that film, or is that just for social media and stuff?
It's not for social media at all.
Yeah.
It's for us. It's just another way for us for POV things, so we can get some point of view things from obviously the quarterback spot is a little bit easier, but we're experimenting with different positions on defense and using it on the free safety, using it on some offensive linemen, kind of what they see in their world, and then the ability to translate that into some of the VR stuff that we're doing so that they can see it from a different realm. So it's been good. We're still getting a lot of data from it, a lot of information from it, but I think our players really enjoy using it. So.
You're obviously really into sports science and health and the well-being of your players. Have you been keeping close tabs on those who've had COVID and their possible long-term health impact?
I have not studied that. That's out of my realm from the sports science standpoint. So I think that's Dr. McAllister and Dr. Goldman's. deal from that standpoint. But I mean, I have a little understanding. One thing I know about the sports science thing is I'm not a sports scientist, but I know who to kind of listen to, and I can understand when they explain it. But I'm not drawing any conclusions or making any decisions on any of that. So I think the COVID question for anybody that's had it, I think everybody talks about the long term. I don't think anybody has that answer from the little that I've gathered from that information. So we haven't done anything extensively right now from this one.
No one's communicated any concerns about it.
I have not heard anything from our medical staff. I defer to all those decisions when it comes to the bigger picture, things like that. And, we can talk about how many yards a healthy player can handle in an hour practice or an hour and a half practice or a 2-hour practice. But anything that comes to, really those are that's not COVID to me is not a sports science thing. That's a medical thing, and that's always Dr. McAllister, Dr. Goldman, and that whole crew there. So.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.